thank you for sending me the book. I absolutely love it. And my kids have grown up a little bit now. I wish I'd had this, not so long ago, because I think it's a brilliant companion for parents to get out and about with their children. Now, when it comes to guidebooks, for me, I think the most important thing is trust. I have to trust the guidebook. And just looking through this, I have done many of these walks. I've been to these areas, and it's immediately obvious that you know what you're on about, and you've actually done these walks and you've been out with your kids. But could you just share a little bit about yourselves for the people watching this, so they sort of know where you're coming from, I guess?
Yeah, we're parents. Our kids are nearly 7 and 9, and yeah, we've both always been very outdoorsy. Pre-kids, we were running, climbing, Ironman, triathloning, that kind of thing, and so we were quite used to having big adventures. And then the kids came along, and it always changes things, but we really wanted to kind of keep walking up mountains, and we found that, like, the logistics, although they're different, they're kind of just as complicated with kids as if you're doing a big expedition. So we kind of just brought that across to family walks, really. So yeah, we spent the last 10 years exploring with our kids, and we've written lots of guidebooks, but this is the second family one, but we've also written walking, running, general adventure books, and yeah, that's now what we do for our job.
Yeah.
When you started walking with children as opposed to having these bigger adventures, did you find that you looked at things in a different way and you had a different experience? Did it open your eyes to different things on the walks?
Yeah, absolutely. Because like before kids, we'd be sort of planning that we wanted to go and climb that mountain or reach the sort of the source of that river, or walk all the way around the lake, or whatever. And since we've had kids, and especially since they've been sort of out of the slings and walking themselves, we'll quite often find that, like, they lead the adventure quite a lot, and like we might get 100 meters from the sort of the start point, and there'd be a stream with a stepping stones, and they're desperate to play there for an hour or something, and they're very good at sort of looking at everything close up. So they don't seem to be that impressed with a big view, but they really like something directly with them. So we found that with our walks, we're looking for sort of things that are right with them, rather than looking for places with a big view, or and I don't know, we've always thought that the whole point of getting out with kids is that everyone's having a lot of fun. So we've always sort of, even if we've had a goal that we'd like to get to, we've always been up for stopping when they want to stop, and sort of letting them explore at their pace.
Yeah,
and that gets further and bigger as they get older.
Yeah, I love that idea of you sort of empowering the kids to find their own path. I think I probably made a mistake as a parent in trying to, come on, everyone, dictate the direction of the walk, because that sounds like that's probably a parenting mistake on my part.
We've definitely done it.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious about, I suppose, what you think the ingredients of a really good walk are for kids. What do you think the sort of main elements are?
I think there has to be a kind of an adventure element. Like, kids don't really get the idea of going for a walk. Like, it's not a thing to do when you're a kid. So I think having, like Sim said, a stream to play in, or like a mini mountain to get to the top of, or a big tree to get to, or just a really obvious goal that you can talk to them about and get them excited about it. Because yeah, going for a walk is always met with resistance, as far as in our experience anyway. And I think having even a cafe on the way is always popular. So we've got a cafe it's about a 4-mile round walk, so it's a decent walk, but because there's a cafe halfway, it's always easy to get them on board with it. So just kind of seeing it from their point of view, really, and like they like to be in control, and being dragged around a walk, they're out of control, and they don't have any say in it. So yeah, giving them options, and making sure there's plenty for them to see and do along the way.
Yeah. Well, the thing that struck me most, I think, about this book is the way that with every walk that's in it, you found a story. Really, you found the story of the walk. You know, you've found a way of presenting that. I think I can imagine parents presenting it to kids and saying, "Look, this is what you're going to find on this walk," and it's really quite. And if you read, I'll just read out a couple, if I may, just out of just put you on the spot. Just out of the contents list, the titles of these walks, things like Caves and Mines at Chapel Porth and Conquer the Fort at, Butterflies in the Bronze Age. They're all really imaginative and appealing to children. And I wonder if when you did that, were you sort of thinking in your mind that you wanted the parents to be able to actually present the book to the kids and say, have a read of this, assuming they were old enough to read it, or listen to this if they weren't reading yet? Is that what you're sort of selling the story of the walk to kids, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they're going on an adventure to find butterflies, or they're sort of going to see a castle or a sort of a Bronze Age hill fort or something like that, then it's like, this is what we're doing. It's a cool adventure. I want to go and see that. I want to try and find a butterfly. I want to sort of, I don't know, rather than saying, let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
It's like, but what are we going to do?
Yeah. If you behave yourself, you can have an ice cream at the end of it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
I think I wanted it to help parents as well, because quite often you don't, as a parent, you've got enough going on, and to do all the research about where you're going it's just that, it's like that little bit extra, too much to do when you're busy getting all the rucksacks packed and everything. So I think I wanted to kind of pinpoint ideas for parents along the way as well, and give. I really like the idea that you've read into it, that it is a story, because I think that it's through stories that's how we engage people, and that's how engaging messages are best received, I think. So yeah, I think that works for grown-ups and children alike, doesn't it? I think
absolutely, yeah. And the great thing is, you're attracted to the walk by what it provides, but then by the end of it, you've created your own story, which becomes part of your family history, and you take photographs along the way and all the rest of it. Well, what I'd like to do is do a bit of a lucky dip, if that's all right with you, because I think, and by the way, I should show the cover. This is the book, very lively looking, beautifully made book. But I want to dip in and just find something at random, and then maybe we'll analyze it, shall we?
Let's give it a go.
You can tell us why it made the book. So random, here we go.
Yeah, properly random, excellent.
Yeah, properly random, right, okay. I've landed on discover a Roman fort at Hadrian's Wall. So we're up in Northumberland here at Haltwhistle. Tell us a bit about this and what, I suppose from a child's perspective, what you've drawn out of this walk and how you've presented that. As an example.
Yeah, I think, I think I don't know, I did ancient history A-level at school, and I found it incredibly dry and boring. And actually when we visited Hadrian's Wall with the kids, it was the first time I'd actually seen it, and I just couldn't believe how massive it was, and how, like, you just reading about something in a book, or however well you're taught it, unless you actually go there and experience it, and you like reach over the wall and you just think, wow, how on earth did they do that? And I think actually going there and seeing that really brought home to me, like, the organization and the, like, how many people must have been involved and that kind of thing. And for me, I think if I'd seen that when I was back studying the Romans at school, it would have made such a difference. And I think having a walk there, it also is a circular walk, so a lot of people, when they go to Hadrian's Wall, just walk along the wall path, which is quite bad for erosion and that kind of thing as well. So we wanted to encourage, there's quite a lot of work up there at the moment to encourage circular walks to reduce erosion on the path itself. So bringing that environmental side of things in was really important. And yeah, just to go and touch history and really feel it and experience it in person was really important with a lot of these walks. And I think kids are at school learning this stuff in a classroom, and if you can actually take them and let it impact them, and that astonishment is the way to learn, as far as we're concerned.
No, history is a real, I mean, it's interesting you explain that about your background. I can see now that the history element in this is very strong. it's very educational, and as you say, it's almost an interactive book, isn't it? When you're taking kids out to, I mean, you've got the famous photograph there, of course, from Robin Hood. I used to live in Newcastle, so I've been out to this walk and done done that one as well. So what? Just on the practical side of things, I mean, each walk has it's really easy to use a start-finish point, and the distance in this case is just over 3 miles. You've got a difficulty of 4 out of 5, so it's quite up and down and a bit boggy.
Yeah. There aren't any massive hills, but it's quite sort of short, steep hills, and the paths are reasonably rough. So, and it's sort of steppy and things like that. So it's quite fun for kids, and it's certainly reasonably safe. But it's not a sort of a 2-path wonder.
No. And you've thought really carefully, I think, about the different. Obviously, you've had your own journey with your children. So I suppose at different times, different walks have appealed. And I think you've got a really interesting mix of different. Were you actually? Did you sit down and think, right? We need 20 walks for 3-year-olds, or was it the other way around? And you thought, well, that's a nice walk. Which age group does that apply to?
I think we've genuinely done them all with kids of varying ages, and our kids being nearly 3 years apart has been quite good for that as well. So some of them we've done with them just in a carrier, and then some of them later on. And I think we're finding now our kids are getting older, there's a lot less limitation on what you can do with them. So there's really the earlier age groups that are the tricky ones. So yeah, I think.
And kids are so different as well, and it's so different on a day-to-day basis as well. And sort of sometimes, like when they were quite small, they'd be really up for it, and we'd be amazed at how far they went. And sometimes they'd just be tired or hungry or grumpy, and you wouldn't get anywhere, and it wouldn't matter how easy the terrain was. And also it depends sort of what, like if they're small, whether you use a back carrier or a front carrier or a buggy, or like, and all that sort of thing depends on the age. And it would be equally good with maybe someone who hadn't done much walking before, or someone who was sort of, so it's not really just kids. And I guess we've tried to relate them to each other in difficulty, but I mean every family, every group will have their own reasons for wanting a shorter or a longer or a harder or an easier walk on that specific day. So
yeah.
Give you an idea.
But also, I think what's great about it is the geographical, the spread of the walk. So this is really for me. I think for me this would be a glove compartment sort of book. Perfect staycation book. Your timing is brilliant.
Yeah, that's good. Good from that point of view.
All of those families that have recently discovered, walking near where they live, and now they want to go out and perhaps go further afield. This is a great sort of handbook for that, isn't it? So, but well timed. We do another one. Sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Look at this. Exmoor. Again, wander through time. Wander through time at the Valley of Rocks. I mean, that's a really intriguing title. Can you tell us what that walk's about?
Yeah, actually, I was commissioned to write a little piece for the RGS about the Valley of Rocks, because it's quite fascinating. The East Lynn River used to run through that valley and then run into the sea there. And at some point, probably during the last ice age, the river changed its course and it now exits at Lynmouth. And nobody really knows why it changed its course. There are lots of theories, like there was a glacier that stopped it flowing and things, but nobody really knows. So there's kind of nice geological mystery about the place. And because of erosion and things, there are all these weird rock shapes, and they've inspired myths and legends. And there's a white lady who you can see if you look at one of the rocks at the right angle. You can see the outline of a white lady and things. So it's a really fascinating place, and you just wander around. You don't really need stories; they're all there, and it's very interactive. And you've got the sea, and yeah, it's quite a magical place.
Yeah, the case path's amazing around there, and also like Lynmouth itself, it's like, and Linton, sort of quite cool little towns. There's a funicular railway between them, There's an amazing story about I can't remember exactly, but maybe 100 years ago when they had to move the lifeboat from Porlock to be able to launch it at Lynmouth to go and rescue a boat. And there's loads of fascinating sort of other history as well as the geology, and the landscape's amazing anyway. The kids really like that one, and we really like. That's probably one of our favourites, I'd say.
It strikes me that perhaps even before you had children, you're the kind of guys that if you were planning to go somewhere, spend a bit of time researching it and making sure that you didn't miss anything when you're there. Have you got those? Is that your kind of curious mind?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Sim's got a geology background, so I learnt loads of him. And I've always been interested in the history side of things and the people stories and the nature and things. So yeah, I think bring different sides to things.
Yeah, that's somewhere I went with my dad when I was about 6, and I remember it.
Yeah. So between geology and history, you've got the whole package, haven't you? That's just fantastic. Okay. Can you perhaps here's a question? What are your hopes for this compilation of walks in your mind? When you think about your sort of the ideal outcome, what are you envisaging for people? What do you think you've given them?
Hopefully something immediately nice to flick through, like a bit of a coffee table book, and then ongoing a bit of inspiration, a bit of help with working out places to go. Like it's we're all stuck in Britain this year, I think. And sometimes maybe you might not realise there's somewhere nearby that's got something really interesting to go and have a look at, or maybe a bit further afield. So yeah, I think just especially in these times, just a bit of mental escapism, and then hopefully some inspiration to actually go and escape. And ideas of really family friendly places. They're all safe. They've all got cafes. They've all got changing facilities. Like the basics are there that you might not think about if you're just looking at an adult guidebook. There's loads of accessible walks. So if you've got people in wheelchairs or buggies or that kind of thing. So hopefully just a really wide range of experiences for loads of different people, I think.
And yeah, just I guess inspire, we'd like it to be a very inspirational book, so to inspire some people to go out and enjoy and create some memories. Start off a life of
well, I think your answers are very modestly put. So if I can, I think you've absolutely nailed those outcomes, and I think it's a lovely book to look at. It's a lovely book to have on the coffee table. I've just had it on my dining table through there, and while I'm cooking, I just keep looking through it and thinking, I must go there, I must do that. And I've been there, and then I noticed something that I didn't know about somewhere I'd already been. So it really is jam-packed with stuff, and I think you've done a really wonderful job. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, well, look, there it is again, everybody. Published by Conway, which is a Bloomsbury imprint. Get this book. If you've got children and you're planning to travel around the UK or even just explore the area near you, this book's going to sort you out. So, guys, thanks very much for your time today, and I wish you all the very best with it.
Thank you, Greg. It's been great to chat.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.
Have a great summer. Cheers.
And you. Goodbye.